So I drove back to Michigan, and on the way I broke down because it was just like I never that's how I'm perceived. Like I never understood until that moment. M1 was a community that resonated for me and resonated with me because there was consistent curriculum, there was accountability, there were people that I could talk to and relate to, whereas I just didn't have that in my day-to-day life. So I would say having a tribe or a connection with people like you guys are doing right now, where you can interrelate and have conversations in a vulnerable, clear way, admit that you have imposter syndrome, admit that you don't feel like you know what you're doing, right? And not feel like that's by doing that you're weak or anything like that. So I would say what I would do and what I did do was that I fully invested in my own personal development. And it's funny, I'll tell this quick story. So in M1, and I don't think, Noel, you ever went to a live event, but Montreal, they do this event every year. And I went to it. So I joined in May. The event was in September. And, for the first 4 months, I was like, all right, I'm all in. And when you join M1, it's kind of like from a fire hose, like do your budget, do this, do that. It's kind of neat up front. And then it kind of wanes. No, you can attest that, right? It kind of like the momentum dies after about 2 months because you just come in with all this stuff and everyone's excited and happy. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, now what? So I went to this live event, saw all these people that I've been networking with through Facebook or whatever. And at the end of the weekend, the guy who leads it, his name is Rock Thomas, did what he called an I am walk. So if you can picture it, we stood in like this hotel hallway, like lining the hallway. And then one by one, a person was to walk through that hallway, like with people on left and right with their eyes closed. And there was like this somber music. He set the mood really well. And you're walking through and you're saying to yourself, I am, with your eyes closed, right? Somebody's kind of behind you just to make sure you don't like run off the rails. And then people are whispering in your ear on each side of you, like what their perception of you is after having kind of networked and bonded with you all weekend. And there were these things being said, and at the end, like a lot of people were crying and all that stuff. And I didn't right then and there, but it was definitely emotional. And the next day I drove back to Michigan. It was my 40th birthday. So I drove back to Michigan, and on the way I broke down because it was just like, that's how I'm perceived. Like I never understood until that moment how terribly I speak to myself. Does that make sense? Like how awful, like things I wouldn't say to my worst. Like I wouldn't use these words to say it to anybody. I would never say to any of you the stuff that I would say to me. Idiot, stupid, what the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Never, but constantly saying it to myself. So that immersion into like getting me right, going through that hardship of the work situation, blaming her. Really? Like I fully victim mode. Like that's all my boss. She's an idiot. She's terrible. She's this, she's that. She doesn't get it. And then kind of coming back to like, the hell with that. Like only I can decide how I feel. Only I can decide how I react to things. And you know what? I'm not bad. I'm not bad. And then, through affirmations, kind of getting myself up. That's where I think everybody needs to spend time. That's where I spend time.